the essence of mind. Everything in this universe, manifest or unmanifest, abstract or matter, is the playful creation of Prakriti. All entities are the different expressions of the endless dance of Shakti, supreme creative principle. On the vast body of Shiva, is Purusha a mute witness in this playful creation of Prakriti? Is it only Prakriti who functions? Is this dance the sole responsibility of Prakriti alone? Purusha is certainly not a mute witness. When creation is in a dormant stage, Prakriti's dance remains merged in Purusha. It is only when Purusha exercises his hypnotic power that Prakriti receives the inspiration to dance. Prakriti betrays her total surrender to Purusha with every cadence of dance and resonance of rhythm. She makes it clear that she is fully subservient to this Purusha. It may appear as if the dancing Prakriti is independent. But actually, this is not the case. Even when creation is manifested, Prakriti is not. Even when creation is manifested, Prakriti is not entirely independent in the strict philosophical sense. It is only due to Purusha's slackness that Prakriti appears to be independent. It seems as if Prakriti does everything through her own independent volition, but actually she only does that which she is permitted to do, nothing more. It is with Purusha's consent that she acquires the power to bind him. In this way, Prakriti continues her playful creation with Purusha as the fundamental stuff. In individual life too, a microcosm seems to be under the influence of Prakriti, but in reality this is not true. If Purusha shakes the movement of Prakriti, she loses the capacity to function independently. At this stage, Jiva microcosm becomes one with Shiva, macrocosm or Purusha. The conscious endeavor to elevate microcosmic consciousness beyond the influence of macrocosmic operative principle Prakriti is called sadhana, or intuitional spiritual practice. Purusha is the seed of both the manifest and unmanifest universes. When the universe is unmanifest, Purusha is predominant. Even when the universe is manifest, Purusha is predominant, but it appears as if Prakriti is dominant. In certain schools of philosophy, the term pradhana is used for Prakriti. Both the expressed and unexpressed universes are the play of Prakriti. In the former, her play is conspicuous, in the latter, it is dormant. But even in the dormant stage, when the triangle of forces remains balanced, Prakriti cannot be said to be completely inactive. She will continue her dance, but being under Purusha's hypnotic influence cannot modify Purusha in any way. Purusha remains absorbed in the bliss of his witnessship, while Prakriti dances within his vast body. This hypnotized Prakriti cannot create any rudimental factor. In the expressed universe, Purusha gives Prakriti plenty of latitude to move within the periphery of his vast body. Prakriti works according to the freedom granted to her, exhibiting her dexterous art of dance, rhythm and posture. Purusha remains in a state of absolute bliss as the witness of her masterly dance. In the first half of Prakriti's playful creation of the manifest universe, Purusha is a little slack. Consequently, the noose of Prakriti's bondage becomes tighter and tighter, causing creation to move from subtle to crude. This half of the cosmic cycle, in which Purusha gives more latitude to Prakriti, is called Sanchara. Thereafter, when Purusha begins to reassert himself, the binding influence of Prakriti starts waning and creation moves from crude to subtle. When Purusha fully asserts himself, he brings Prakriti under his complete control, thus controlling her freedom to dance according to her own sweet will. Hypnotized under Purusha's spell, she takes creation back to the previous dormant stage. This movement from crudity to subtlety, which terminates in the original manifested state, is the second half of the cosmic cycle of Pratisanshara. In both Sanshara and Pratisanshara, Purusha seems to be bound by Prakriti, but actually it is Purusha who grants her latitude so that she can continue her playful dance. Although Purusha is metamorphosed into multiplicities in Sanshara, those multiplicities remain embedded in supreme singularity. When Purusha curtails the freedom he granted to Prakriti and returns to his original stance, then Prakriti is compelled to return to her original dormant stage. Hence it is better to say Prakriti and Purusha are one. They are both manifested and unmanifested, or more logically, they are neither manifested nor unmanifested. So the analytical phase is the phase of manifestation in which the singular Purusha appears to be transformed into many by Prakriti. The greater the influence of Prakriti, the greater the number of pluralities and the greater the degree of crudification. But when creation reaches the nadir point of crudification, Purusha starts decreasing the latitude he granted to Prakriti and withdraws everything unto himself, thereby bringing an end to the process of creation. This is the phase of Pratisanshara. In this phase, Prakriti is no longer free to continue her creative flow independently. Creation now proceeds from plurality towards supreme singularity, towards the supreme cognitive faculty. This is the path of synthesis. When pluralities move towards the supreme singularity, they undergo severe internal and external clashes. In this phase, the more the latitude granted by Purusha begins to decrease, the greater the external pressure on each finite object, and the greater the internal clash within each object. The result of these clashes is the gradual disintegration of the atoms and molecules which constitute the physical structure. Thus, the gradual decrease in the degree of static influence on the physical structure. Suppose 500 people have been closely bound together with ropes. If they start jolting and fighting amongst themselves, then naturally their tight bondage will gradually loosen. If their movements become even more violent, their bondages will snap open. In much the same way, the atoms and molecules within a structure are powdered down and transformed into crude mind stuff as a result of internal clash. Philosophically, this crude mind stuff is called Shita. As Purusha further withdraws his latitude, there is greater internal clash within the Shita, leading to the formation of the subtler Aham, Dura, and Mahat existentiali, portions of the mind. The major difference between animate beings and inanimate beings is that animate beings have an existential feeling, whereas inanimate beings do not. An inanimate piece of iron and a grain of sand are not aware of their existence, but an undeveloped living creature like an earthworm has self-awareness. The mighty Himalayas do not know that they exist, but for a tiny fly, existence is quite real. This tiny fly has the potentiality to become a great personality one day in the course of evolution. The fly that you see today is a very insignificant creature, but after hundreds of thousands of years, it may become a towering personality of great eminence, a mighty genius, as a wise person never despises anyone. There is nothing in the world to be despised, nothing to be slighted or belittled. Instead of saying that the inanimate world has no existential feeling, it is better to say that existential awareness is dormant in matter. When Shita emerges from matter as a result of internal clash, existential awareness begins to develop gradually. With the emergence of Aham and Mahat, existential awareness becomes increasingly crystallized and ultimately, I-feeling assumes a preponderant role. What is the mind? The mind is a subtle expression of matter. Matter is the condensed form of cosmic mind. The three chambers of the cosmic mind evolve in the Sanchara phase of the cosmic cycle. First the Mahatattva, the subtlest part, which arouses existential feeling, then the Aham Tattva, a little less subtle, which establishes the correlation between existential feeling and matter, and finally the Chitta, the crudest part, which takes the form of objects. In the face of Pratisanchara, it is the Chitta which initially emerges as a result of clash within the material structure. Chitta is unable to fully express its potentiality in the absence of Aham and Mahat. There are some entities in the world which lie between the animate and inanimate. They have Chitta which can take the form of physical objects, but in the absence of Aham and Mahat, they are unable to apply and power to utilize matter. Some entities have Chitta and Aham, but in the absence of Mahat do not have proper existential life feeling. Their Chitta can take the form of material objects, and their Aham can connect themselves to their objects, yet they have no clear existential life feeling. Creepers and climbers and undeveloped living beings are in this stage of development. In some of them, only Chitta has awakened. In others, both Chitta and Aham. Only in developed creatures do the three parts of the mind exist. If creatures devoid of Mahatattva are bifurcated, each part survives as an independent creature. Likewise, branches and leaves cut off the parent plant can maintain a separate existence. Aham develops as a result of clash within the Chitta. If that clash becomes more intense, Mahatattva develops. When the clash within the Chitta becomes extreme, the periphery of Mahat exceeds that of Aham. As long as Aham remains smaller than Chitta, the psychic faculty is called Manasa, crude mind stuff. But when Aham surpasses Chitta in size as a result of increased clash, then a large portion of the mind is called Manisha, intellect. And when Mahat becomes larger than Aham due to extreme clash, that enlarged portion is called Bodhi, intuition. Intellect is the controller of Chitta, crude mind, because it is larger and subtler. Undeveloped creatures and animals are guided by the crude mind. Human beings, however, are guided by intellect, as in their case. Aham is larger in area than Chitta, and herein lies their greatness. For undeveloped entities whose Chitta is larger than Aham, enjoyment of crude matter is the goal of life, because their mental power moves within the arena of the crude mind. But in human beings, intellect controls the crude mind, shaking its unbridled fascination for material enjoyment. As soon as a goat sees a green plant, it rushes towards it, but human beings do not run greedily and indiscriminately towards whatever object of enjoyment they see. They procure things either with their hard-earned money or by applying their intellect. The development of intuition is possible only in living beings who undergo great psychic clash. Intuition and awakened Kundalini, sleeping divinity, are indistinguishable. To arouse the Kundalini through psychic clash and intuitional practice means to develop intuition. A person whose Kundalini has awakened does not belong to the crude world of material enjoyment, but is a true citizen of the world of intuition. People of undeveloped intellect are mostly guided by Prakriti, but those of developed intellect through proper object of ideation, the Supreme One, through intellectual analysis, and then start moving towards Him. When intellect advances with the ideation of the Supreme, the sensory and motor organs act as obedient servants to the mind. No longer is the mind the slave of the organs. Hence proper ideation leads to intellectual subtlety.